Hello, everybody. It's Emily, your registered dietitian. We are back for another one of our weekly lives, and I've got my friend Magoo here. Magoo says hello. He's been hanging out with us this afternoon, and he's helping us get active later by going out for a walk with him. So I'm gonna let Magoo down and hope that he doesn't bark. But if you're going to be joining us live, if you're watching this live, please comment Team Live. If you're watching this replay, please comment Team Replay. So excited to have you here with us today. So we are talking about why we keep overeating, why we overeat, what's the trigger for it, what's happening, and kind of why it's happening and what to be aware of. So we're gonna be diving into the 4 things that I have written down and thought about that's gonna be contributing to overeating. Just a reminder, this is something that we're also gonna be talking about inside of the Balance program. The Balance program is our week-long program happening in April, where we are talking all about, see, there he goes barking, where we are talking all about stress eating and overeating, how to change that and start eating in balance. So with that program, we're gonna be diving into it. Magoo, come here. I think he wants to go outside, but he's gonna have to wait a minute. So inside of that program, we're gonna be diving into all of that. But today we're talking about why we overeat. What are the triggers? What are the causes for it? So it looks like we got Annie here, we got Melissa here, we got Casey here. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us. Let's dive into it. Number 1, why we overeat. Part of it is because of our conditioning. Now, my parents did this and they just wanted us to be able to eat and eat enough. And I'm sure that your parents probably did this too, but Clean Plate Club. When we were younger, so many of our parents are concerned that we're not eating enough. He's over here hitting the door. That we're not eating enough. They're concerned that we're not getting enough to eat, so that they're saying, you know what, clean your plate. You have to eat everything on there. So we become conditioned to say, I'm not full or I'm not done until that plate is clear. Most times we are overeating to that point that we feel Thanksgiving full or upset stomach full, where we're feeling like, oh yeah, don't feel really great right now. Did your family do Clean Plate Club? Do you still feel that pressure to clean or eat everything on your plate from whatever you have served? Because if that's part of it and that's you're feeling like, oh yeah, like I have noticed that I have to clean my plate every single time that I eat, this is going to be a big trigger for us. We're saying like, okay, maybe next time we can stop a couple bites ahead of time and say, you know what, I'm eating this, but I'm going to stop right here because I feel satisfied, rather than going to that point where I feel very full. So we can become conditioned to say, I'm not done eating until my plate is clean. So becoming more and more okay with saying, I'm going to leave stuff on my plate. If I'm satisfied, it is okay to leave it there. So conditioning is one of them. Number 2, the confusion of portion size and serving size. This is a huge one when we go out to eat. We are served these ginormous portions. I used to work at an Italian restaurant when I was in high school and in college, and they would serve to you, I kid you not, a half a pound of pasta in this ginormous bowl, bigger than the size of your head, a half a pound of pasta. And people will start eating it, and all of a sudden it'll be gone, or maybe they'll eat 3/4 of it or whatever it is, to the point where they feel very, very full and saying like, oh, well, I had my serving. There's a difference between portion size and serving size. A portion is what's served to you. A serving size is what's recommended. So if we're constantly eating just what's served to us, that can also be a trigger with the overeating or that cleaning your plate. That's going to cause some of that overeating as well. If we can become more aware of what the serving sizes are, which is something that we're going to be covering in depth inside of the Balance program, we are able to stop after that one serving and say, okay, how do I feel right now? Do I feel full and satisfied? Do I feel like I want a little bit more? Maybe I'll go grab some more protein or go grab some more color, whatever it is, and be able to go off of that. So remembering that what's served to you does not always mean it's a serving size. It could have 2 to 3 times the actual serving size in there. So if we're just going off this ginormous bowl of pasta or the huge crock of macaroni and cheese, we could end up eating 3 times what we thought we're eating as well. Number 3, stress response for so many, which is why we're covering this inside of the Balance program. Eating can be a stress response for us. It's something of like I just had a really tough day, or I had a really hard call, or there's a lot on my plate right now, or it was really hard with the kids after school and I just need ice cream. I just need a handful of candy, nuts, whatever it is, where we're not even hungry for it at that point. It's just saying like, this is going to make me feel better. And scientifically, it triggers that same response as drugs do in our mind when we're saying or using food for that coping piece. So having that understanding of like, okay, that feeling is probably still going to be there after I have that candy, whatever it is. You know, after I have a couple bowls of popcorn or half a bag of chips, that eating is not going to replace that feeling. Your feeling is still going to feel there. You might have a little bit of that serotonin hit, but that serotonin will wear off and we can still be stressed. So understanding that, am I eating because I'm hungry, or am I eating because this is a behavior or how I'm coping, or it's a stress response for so many? You know, it could be like, I'm stressed out, I'm gonna go grab a soda to get that hit of the carbonation and the sugar, which is then causing those other issues. So if we can say, you know what, I'm just grabbing this out of habit, I'm not actually hungry for it, or I'm recognizing I'm stressed, let me channel that energy someplace else or in some other way, that could be another really great thing too. So understanding, is this a stress response for me, or am I there? Number 4, on autopilot. So many of us live our days where we are just going nonstop. We just cannot stop going, and we're saying, all right, I'm going to drive to work and we do this and I got this and I got all of these things on my to-do list. Think about how many times you've driven to work or home from work and then you're like, I forgot how I got here. What road did I take? That's your brain going on autopilot. And it's the same thing too when you come home from work and you're like, I usually have a snack. We're not taking that time to pause and say, oh, I'm not hungry right now. Like, I've had a snack this afternoon, I feel satisfied. We're just going and grabbing something because it's a routine that we found ourselves in. We're in that habit of grabbing something at that time, even though we may not be hungry for it. So understanding, you know, what are the routines and patterns that I find myself in? Do I come home from work and immediately open up the pantry or the cabinet and get the snacks out to start eating? Less Magoo. Or is it something where I am actually hungry at that point and I should factor in a snack in the afternoon? So understanding, you know, where am I on autopilot? Am I automatically grabbing a glass of wine after dinner because that's just what I do? Or do I actually want it? Am I automatically grabbing dessert when I really don't want it? Or is it just something that's happening? It happened the other day. I had dessert at my parents' house. I came back home. My boyfriend had a piece of chocolate. He said, do you want some? I'm like, no, I don't want any. I'm good. I had my dessert. I feel satisfied. Yes, Magoo, 1 minute. My mom and brother are also watching right now and they're like, I'm happy he's barking there and not here. Or if it's saying like he then grabbed the chocolate and then he went to the ice cream and he was eating the ice cream bar. He's like, do you want one? And I'm like, no, I don't want one. On autopilot, I might be like, yeah, sure, I'll have the other ice cream bar. There's 2 for each of us. We'll just have them at the same time. But being able to slow down and say, I'm good, I'm satisfied, I don't want it right now, I feel okay, is helping putting that power back and preventing that overeating. So those are the 4 things. Conditioning, where we are just used to doing something, or we're saying like, this is normal for me. I eat to that point where I'm feeling very full. Understanding portion size versus serving size. Stress response triggers a lot of eating for so many people, especially when we're not hungry. And then the autopilot of like, well, I just grabbed this without having that conscious understanding of like, am I actually hungry right now? Is this something that's helping me? So if this was helpful, please let us know down in the comments. Give us a thumbs up or the heart on here. If you have any questions about stress eating and overeating, send us a message. Just a reminder that today is the last day to join the Balance program for $150. It's the week-long program happening in April. We would love for you to join us. I will drop that discounted link below. After midnight tonight, it is going up to the $200. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be in on this, I need help, I want to work on stopping the stress eating and the overeating and start eating in balance and understanding how to fuel myself to not find me in those situations, this program is for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Magoo is running around, but he says thanks for being here too, and I'll see you soon.